And welcome to the week of What If, everyone. I haven't actually, this is all being pre recorded for Monday because I got the day off for a change. From Nancy Hippolyte, the one shot we had today is what if Itachi had given Naruto Fugaku's eyes, Fugaku's Sharingan eyes? Okay, there's a lot to unpack with that, and there's a reason this is a one shot. First of all, giving Naruto any Sharingan eyes does not immediately mean you're going to have them implanted into his head. In fact, really, implanting Sharingan into Naruto, unless it's the crux of the video, um, like Naruto getting Sasuke's Sharingan, for example, if he dies in the Land of Waves. That's a what if I've been given plenty of times. Just because he is given to the eyes doesn't mean you'd have him implanted. And if anything, we know that it's very difficult to deactivate eyes that are implanted into you. We know that Kakashi cannot deactivate his. As far as we know, Nagato could not deactivate his Rinnegan. And if I remember correctly, I don't believe Danzo could deactivate his Sharingan because they're not natural to the user's body. Now, there is an argument to be made that because Naruto has the Nine Tails, and the Sharingan and the Nine Tails can work very well together. I mean, the Sharingan obviously controlled the Nine Tails. And that Naruto also has the Azura path, or the Azura path is Asura reincarnated. That maybe the eyes could naturally shut off, because otherwise, if Naruto can't shut his eyes off, the chakra drain on that would be insane, even by Naruto's standard. Like, yeah, Naruto still has so much chakra that, in theory, that shouldn't hurt him all that badly. However, that's not how that works, because the eyes would constantly be activated, constantly draining. That's why Kakashi has to keep his eyes shut most of the time. That way, it's not draining his chakra. The minute it's open and taking in things, it's currently being used. So Naruto would constantly be losing chakra, even with an insanely large chakra reserve. That would still ultimately drain you dry. So Naruto getting eyes, any eyes is probably not a good idea. But again, in certain videos we can work around that. But the secondary problem with this is simply, first off, Fugaku's Mangekyo is technically anime only. Is it implied in the manga that he, letting the dog out, that he may have unlocked the Mangekyo? Surprisingly, no. Like, we actually don't have really any evidence in the manga itself, apart from the fact that I believe Fugaku knew about the Stone of Chia, how to unlock the Mangekyo. That he had a Mangekyo in the manga canon. The anime is what basically showed. By the way, I do like his Mangekyo design. That's a cool design. It looks like the Magetta beads in the three Magetta beads plus two irises, and it's a good design. It's sharp, literally. It's a sharp design, but even in the anime only, we have no idea what his Mangekyo abilities were. We know he thought he could control the Nine Tails with his Sharingan, which admittedly even a base Sharingan can kind of do as long as it's powerful enough. But this implies at least one of his Mangekyo abilities must have been a highly powerful Genjutsu of some kind. All right, dog. Sorry, 1 second. Get shot in my armpit for everyone. You being silly, baby. You're going to shoot up a silly puppy. I love you. I love you. But yeah, this implies that at least one of his Mangekyo abilities was a highly powerful Genjutsu. Okay, so at least we can go with that. We also know that the Mangekyo abilities of any user is based off the user's personality. That is actually, I think, I'm not sure if it's like said in the manga, but I think it's said in like one of the data books that it's kind of manifested specifically from the user themselves. Like people who want to see the truth in life, who want to reveal truth, like Itachi and Shisui, developed highly powerful genjutsu like Tsukiyomi and Koto Okatsukame. But Fugaku, we know what wasn't looking for truth. He was looking for respect. He was looking to regain power. He was looking to be the one in charge, more or less. So most likely, it would have been something that probably dominated the user's will, is what my guess is. But all this leads to, first off, when would he even give Naruto these eyes? My guess would be when he met up with Naruto again, um, during the Sasuke retrieval mission, because he did briefly meet up with Naruto before him and Sasuke fought. I think he would probably attack him with a crow, but then implant the eyes on him. Naruto would find it with a message from Itachi explaining what happened, and so now they have the eyes. Great, wonderful. What do they do with the eyes, though? That's the problem. Now, I know a lot of people are asking, probably wanting me to do Naruto against Fugaku's eyes, and now it's Naruto versus Naruto's dad. Sasuke would fight his dad's eyes. But the truth of it is, realistically, beyond a lot of other things, because we don't know what these eyes do, there's not a. I would just have to be making shit up with this. I would have to. That is the biggest problem. By the way, side note: if you look at like where the pattern, you can't see my mouse obviously, but where the tips of each blade like are at the end of these eyes end, I do like these just weird like shapes they make, almost like crescent moons in there a little bit, or like yin yang symbols a little bit. I really dig this design. I can't belabor that enough. But I I just can't feasibly see a scenario where Naruto would implant his eyes is the problem. That for me is the real problem here. I cannot see a scenario where Naruto would actually implant Fugaku's eyes. I can definitely see scenarios where he puts the Rinnegan in his eyes. That actually makes a lot of sense. Sasuke, there are scenarios where if he died early on, he could give Naruto his eyes. I can see that. Hell, I can even see scenarios where he gets Itachi's eyes. But I can't effectively see a reason for him to be having Fugaku's eyes implanted into him. Now, that being said, however, there is an avenue you can go with Fugaku's eyes. I still think the entire series goes the same. But I don't tackle Boruto almost ever. I might hint at things like power creep and all that later on. But, or, if Naruto's got such a big boost that how would like things like the Ishiki fight go down? But with that said, Sasuke ends up losing one of his Rinnegan. He loses one of his eyes. But a way around that, honestly, would be to implant one of his dad's eyes into his head. That legitimately would be an option. Furthermore, even though we've only seen the Eternal Mangekyo used with brothers, I would imagine a father-son relationship should be close enough to reactivate an Eternal Mangekyo or activate an Eternal Mangekyo. Now, this is something we've never addressed. If you have activated an Eternal Mangekyo already, okay, you have that activated, but you lose an eye. If you replant a Mangekyo Sharingan that would be compatible to activate an Eternal Mangekyo, could you reactivate the Eternal Mangekyo within that eye? That is a question I don't think is answered at all. But I think the answer would be no, because you have to put both eyes. You'd have to remove both eyes. That's the catch-22 on that. You'd have to remove both eyes because that's how that works. Like Kakashi, for example, Madara did not suddenly activate another Eternal Mangekyo. He already had it, first off. So I think that also leans towards him not reactivating it when he put Obito's eye in his head. Mind you, Obito is not a pure blood, is not close enough related to Madara for that, I think, to work. But even if it theoretically should have worked, he only had one eye. However, once again, I could see Sasuke saying, "Give me my father's eyes. Give me both of them. If we're gonna do this, give me both of them." And we could technically see him reactivate his Eternal Mangekyo in an even grander way. Like in theory, that's another question. Could you stack Eternal Mangekyo Sharingans on each other to get more? If you had enough siblings or blood relations close enough to activate them, could you stack those on top of each other? And eventually the eye is just a complete black eye. Like, no, whatever. So all these patterns are just stacking on each other. No one would be able to Think words here. No one would be able to tell you have it. They would just think you have this black eye, with a red pupil. That would actually be pretty funny. But it turns out you have the most deadly Mangekyo in the world. Uh, so I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Nothing, if nothing else, Sasuke would not be walking around with one eye. He'd still have both eyes, or two eyes at any rate. Uh, that being said, would that save his ass in Boruto? Probably not. He still get turned into a tree. Shinju would still probably get him. The claw grinds, sorry, the claw grinds would get him, and then the Shinju would be born. Still, it's an interesting topic, but really, if Itachi gave Fugaku's eyes to Naruto, I really don't see a very huge change. And this really stems from, unless he's urging Naruto to take his dad's eyes, in which case you could make some arguments for that. But even if he's urging Naruto to take his dad's eyes, I still don't see it. I mean, Naruto would probably be able to subjugate the Nine Tails a lot easier, having the Sharingan. But I think the problem, again, would just be chakra drain. He'd have to be very careful of how he uses these eyes. If he's able to figure out a way to deactivate him, maybe when he gains the Kurama, the Fox Cloak version 1, maybe that's what deactivates the eyes finally, and he can reactivate them on his own. Giving him a Sharingan to go up against Sasuke puts him on a much more even footing with Sasuke. Now, again, though, the question just comes down to what are the abilities? And he'd probably have a Susanoo, probably. It wouldn't be his own. Like, none of these abilities would be their own. Um, yeah. Again, without knowing any real abilities, I can't really give a coherent answer to what would happen here. Naruto, but with the Sharingan and the Fox's Chakra, Naruto would pretty much all the stuff that'd be happening would be happening far easier for Naruto. So anyway, I digress. That's my thoughts, though. I know it's probably a disappointing what if, but that's yeah, that's what I think would happen based on this topic. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.